Stop right there. I know what you have been taught. You have been taught that silence means weakness. You have been taught that if you do not answer quickly, you are afraid. You have been taught that if you do not defend yourself immediately, you are ignorant. That is a lie designed to make you surrender government over your own mouth. Silence is not weakness when it is chosen by purpose. Silence is not fear when it is governed by wisdom. Silence is not emotional withdrawal when your spirit is in charge of your tongue. Let me tell you something. Your mouth is not just an opening in your face. Your mouth is a gate. Your words are not casual. Your words create access. Your words expose process. Your words release authority. And if they are used without wisdom, your words can destroy favor that took years to build. Many people are praying for open doors while their mouth keeps opening the wrong ones. They are asking God for promotion, but they cannot survive one provocation without reacting. They want destiny, but they do not have discipline. The world rewards noise. The world rewards announcement. The world rewards reaction. The world tells you, say something, post something, prove something, answer them, explain yourself, defend yourself. But the kingdom does not operate by the rhythm of the world. The kingdom rewards stewardship. The kingdom rewards timing. The kingdom rewards discipline. In the kingdom, it is not enough to have something to say. You must know when you are permitted to say it. A word spoken out of season can become a weapon against the very assignment it was supposed to serve. Do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to become passive. I am not telling you to hide. I am not telling you to let people abuse you, control you, or silence your purpose. No, that is not kingdom silence. Kingdom silence is not the silence of fear. Kingdom silence is the silence of authority. It is when you have the ability to speak, but you choose restraint because purpose is greater than emotion. It is when you could answer, but wisdom says, not now. It is when you could explain, but maturity says, let fruit speak. And this is where many people are losing. They are not losing because they lack purpose. They are losing because they keep talking in moments where silence was the instruction. They talk when the vision is still a seed. They talk when anger is asking for the microphone. They talk when critics demand access to the blueprint. They talk when lies misrepresent them. They talk when success tempts them to prove themselves. They talk while they are still processing. They talk when peace is more valuable than winning. And every time they talk outside of government, they leak strength. These 7 silences are not motivational suggestions. They are requirements for a kingdom citizen. If you cannot govern your mouth, you cannot govern your assignment. If your tongue is always under the control of pressure, pain, pride, and people, then your destiny is being managed by the wrong authority. Before you ask God for more influence, ask Him for more discipline. Before you ask for a bigger platform, ask for a submitted tongue. Because promotion is dangerous in the hands of a person whose mouth has no ruler. So I want you to stay teachable. Do not listen to this with pride. Let it correct you. Let it confront you. Let it pull you out of reaction and into dominion. If this is already touching something in your spirit, like this video, as a sign that you are receiving correction, not just information. And I want you to comment these words before we go deeper. I choose kingdom discipline over reaction. Write it as a declaration. Write it as a decision. Write it because silence becomes power when it is chosen by purpose, not forced by fear. The first moment you must learn to be silent is when your assignment is still in seed form. Hear me carefully. Every purpose begins as a seed. It does not begin as a platform. It does not begin as applause. It does not begin with everybody clapping, approving, understanding, and celebrating. It begins small. It begins hidden. It begins undeveloped. It begins in a place where only God can see what it is becoming. And this is where immature people destroy divine things. They receive a seed, then they announce it like it is already a tree. They receive an idea, then they expose it like it has roots. They receive a burden, then they carry it into rooms full of people who do not have the spiritual capacity, emotional maturity, or kingdom sensitivity to protect its infancy. Stop speaking a baby assignment into grown criticism. Stop placing a newborn vision in the hands of people who only know how to dissect what they were never assigned to nurture. Seeds do not grow in public. Seeds grow in darkness. Seeds grow under pressure. Seeds grow in obscurity. Seeds grow while nobody is applauding. Nobody is validating. Nobody is reposting. Nobody is saying, I believe in you. The seed does not need a crowd. The seed needs soil. The seed needs water. The seed needs time. The seed needs protection. And if you keep digging it up to show people that it is growing, you will kill the very thing you are trying to prove. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying you should reject counsel. I am not saying you should be isolated, arrogant, and unteachable. No, that is not wisdom. But there is a difference between counsel and commentary. Counsel comes from builders. Commentary comes from spectators. Counsel sharpens the blueprint. Commentary throws noise into the construction site. Counsel asks, how can I help you build this correctly? Commentary asks, who do you think you are? Counsel protects the process. Commentary exposes it to unnecessary warfare. You need to know who is a builder and who is just curious. Everybody who asks questions is not assigned to your future. Some people are not asking because they want to help. They are asking because they want access. They want to inspect what they do not have the grace to protect. They want to measure your seed with their unbelief. They want to judge your infancy by their impatience. And if you are not careful, you will start editing a God-given assignment to make it comfortable for people who were never part of the design. Let me tell you something about your manufacturer. God did not wait for people to understand you before he designed you. God did not wait for your family to approve you before he placed purpose in you. God did not wait for your friends to agree before he gave you an assignment. Human approval is not the evidence of divine authorization. If God gave it, it is real before people recognize it. If God spoke it, it is valid before people celebrate it. If God planted it, it is alive before people can see fruit. This is why premature announcement attracts premature warfare. When you speak too early, you invite criticism against something that is not developed enough to defend itself. A seed cannot explain itself like a tree. A beginning cannot argue like a finished work. A vision in formation does not always have language yet. It may have burden but not structure. It may have fire but not systems. It may have direction but not details. And if you expose it too early, people will criticize the absence of things that only time and obedience were supposed to produce. I have watched people lose momentum because they talked too soon. They were excited, but not disciplined. They were inspired, but not rooted. They were gifted, but not formed. They told everybody what they were going to build before they had counted the cost, developed the skill, submitted to the process, and obeyed the first instruction. Then the opinions came. The jokes came. The questions came. The comparisons came. The doubt came. And suddenly the seed that came from God was being choked by voices God never sent. Some dreams do not die because they were false. They die because they were exposed too early. They die because they had no roots. They die because they had no structure. They die because the person carrying them needed applause more than obedience. They die because someone wanted to be seen as visionary before they were willing to be trained as a servant. That is dangerous. If you need people to celebrate the seed, you may not have the discipline to protect the harvest. The first assignment is not announcement. The first assignment is cultivation. Water it, study it, pray over it, obey it, write it down, research it, build capacity for it. Get counsel from people who have fruit, not noise. Learn the language of the assignment. Develop the habits that can carry it. Let the roots go down before the branches go up, because the height of your assignment will always require the depth of your preparation. You want to announce it because you are excited. I understand that. Excitement is not evil, but excitement without government becomes exposure. Excitement without discipline becomes leakage. Excitement without wisdom becomes a door for distraction. Do not let your emotions make public what your character has not prepared to carry. There's some things you should not post. There's some plans you should not discuss. There's some doors you should not mention. There's some instructions you should treasure quietly until obedience gives them weight. So be silent while it is still a seed. Be silent while God is forming language. Be silent while wisdom is building structure. Be silent while discipline is putting roots underneath what destiny will one day reveal above ground. Do not speak a vision into a room that does not have the capacity to protect its infancy. Let maturity become the announcement. Let fruit become the evidence. Let obedience become the voice. Because when the seed has become a tree, you will not have to argue that it is alive. Its fruit will testify. Now the second silence is this: be silent when anger is asking for the microphone. Because after you learn to protect the seed from premature exposure, you must learn to protect your spirit from premature expression. The first enemy of your destiny is not always a person. Sometimes the first enemy of your destiny is your own ungoverned reaction. Hear me carefully. Anger is not always sin. There are some things you should be angry about. Injustice should move you. Disorder should disturb you. Betrayal should grieve you. Hypocrisy should confront something in your spirit. But anger becomes dangerous when it sits on the throne of your mouth. Anger becomes destructive when it stops being an emotion you feel and becomes the authority you obey. The moment anger controls your mouth, it starts negotiating with your destiny. It starts bargaining away favor for the temporary pleasure of release. It starts trading years of trust for 5 seconds of expression. It starts burning bridges you prayed for God to build. And many people are not in trouble because they lacked opportunity. They are in trouble because when opportunity was forming, their mouth was still being managed by pain. Do not misunderstand me. I am not telling you to deny what you feel. I am not telling you to pretend something did not hurt. I am not telling you to let people disrespect you and call it humility. No, that is not maturity. Maturity is not the absence of emotion. Maturity is government over emotion. Maturity is when your spirit tells your mouth, you will not speak until wisdom has approved the words. There is a difference between a response and a reaction. A response is born from principle. A reaction is born from pain. A response comes after wisdom is spoken. A reaction comes while pride is still bleeding. A response protects the assignment. A reaction protects the ego. And if you do not know the difference, you will call your temper honesty. You will call your disrespect boldness. And you will call your lack of self-control authenticity. That is a deception. Everything that is true does not need to be said right now. Everything you feel does not deserve a voice. Everything that crosses your mind is not authorized to cross your lips. Kingdom citizens do not live under the dictatorship of impulse. They do not let offense become their prophet. They do not let insult become their instructor. They do not let pressure become their preacher. When you are offended, pause. When you are insulted, pause. When somebody misreads you, pause. When somebody attacks your motive, pause. Not because you are weak, but because wisdom needs room to speak louder than emotion. If anger is the loudest voice in the room, silence is your protection. If pride is pushing you to answer, silence is your discipline. If pain is writing the sentence, do not let your mouth sign the contract. I have watched people destroy 10 years of credibility with one angry sentence. One sentence, one message, one post, one outburst, one moment where they said, I just had to get it off my chest. And they got it off their chest, but they also got favor off their life. They got it off their chest, but they removed trust from the relationship. They got it off their chest, but they gave their enemy evidence that they were still governable by provocation. You must understand this. Every provocation is an interview. It is testing who has authority over you. Does purpose have authority or does pain have authority? Does wisdom have authority or does pride have authority? Does the kingdom have authority or does your flesh have authority? When someone can provoke you into foolish speech, they have discovered a handle on your life. They can move you without permission. They can lead you without covenant. They can pull you out of position with one insult. That is not dominion. Dominion is when you can be provoked and still remain governed. Dominion is when you can be insulted and still stay under purpose. Dominion is when your mouth does not become a servant of your wound. When you can remain silent while provoked, you prove that the insult does not own you. You prove that the person did not become your master. You prove that your peace is not for sale. Stop giving temporary emotions permanent authority. Stop giving angry moments access to long-term decisions. Stop letting people drag you into a version of yourself that God already delivered you from. You are not obligated to answer every accusation. You are not required to attend every argument. You are not assigned to every fight. Some battles are traps dressed like conversations. Some questions are bait wearing the clothes of concern. Some conflicts are designed only to make you speak beneath your level of authority. So before you answer, ask yourself, who is speaking through me right now? Is this wisdom or is this wounded pride? Is this principle or is this pressure? Is this necessary or is this noise? Will these words build or will they burn? Will this sentence serve my assignment or will it satisfy my ego? Because a kingdom citizen does not speak merely because the mouth is open. A kingdom citizen speaks because purpose has authorized the sound. There are moments when your greatest victory will be the sentence you did not say, the message you did not send, the insult you did not return, the argument you did not enter, the explanation you did not force, the door you did not slam with words. That silence is not emptiness. That silence is strength under control. That silence is a throne. That silence is government. Let anger report to wisdom. Let pain report to purpose. Let pride bow before peace. You can feel deeply and still speak carefully. You can be hurt and still be holy. You can be angry and still be governed. But if anger takes the microphone, your destiny becomes the audience. And destiny should never have to sit and listen to your immaturity negotiate away what obedience has been building. Now the third silence is this. Be silent when critics demand access to your blueprint. Because after you learn to govern your anger, you must learn to govern access. Not everyone who asks a question deserves an explanation. Not everyone who says, I'm just trying to understand, is trying to understand. Some people are not asking for clarity. They are asking for entrance. Hear me carefully. Curiosity is not always concern. Sometimes curiosity is criticism wearing a clean shirt. Sometimes concern is jealousy with a soft voice. Sometimes people ask, what are you building? When what they really mean is, let me see enough so I can tell you why it will not work. And if you are immature, you will confuse interrogation with interest. You will confuse inspection with investment. You will confuse noise with wisdom. A kingdom builder must know the difference between people assigned to sharpen the work and people assigned only to inspect it. Builders carry tools. Critics carry opinions. Builders ask questions because they want the structure to stand. Critics ask questions because they want to find a crack. Builders bring responsibility. Critics bring commentary. Builders may correct you, but they correct you with the weight of love, experience, and accountability. Critics only want access without responsibility. You do not show construction plans to people who only know how to condemn what is unfinished. A blueprint is not for spectators. A blueprint is for builders. A blueprint is for those who understand process, stages, cost, timing, foundation, weight, and sequence. But if you hand your blueprint to someone who has never built anything, they will criticize the absence of furniture while you are still pouring concrete. They will ask where the windows are while you are still laying foundation. They will mock the mess because they do not understand construction. This is why you must be silent, not because you have nothing, not because you are confused, not because you are afraid. You are silent because what you are carrying is too sacred to be explained to people who have no covenant with its completion. Stop wasting sacred language on people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop giving architectural access to emotional vandals. Stop opening your spirit to people who only came to inspect your weakness and report your process. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying nobody can correct you. That is pride. I am not saying you are above counsel. That is deception. I am not saying every question is an attack. No, that is insecurity. A wise person welcomes correction. A mature person invites counsel. A kingdom citizen submits to sharpening. But correction and criticism are not the same thing. Correction carries responsibility for your growth. Criticism often carries jealousy, fear, ignorance and personal frustration. Correction says, I see where this can become stronger. Criticism says, who told you this could become anything? Correction protects your assignment. Criticism poisons your confidence. Correction may wound your pride, but it heals your process. Criticism wounds your spirit and offers no medicine. Correction comes from someone willing to stand close enough to help you build. Criticism comes from someone standing far enough away to avoid responsibility, but close enough to throw stones. You need discernment. You need spiritual intelligence. You need emotional government, because if you answer every critic, you will spend your life defending the blueprint instead of building the house. If you explain every detail to every doubter, you will lose the energy required to obey the instruction. Your emotional energy is limited. Your mental strength is limited. Your spiritual focus is valuable. Do not spend it trying to convert people who have already decided to misunderstand you. Some people are not confused. They are committed. They are committed to seeing you small. They are committed to interpreting your motives wrongly. They are committed to hearing your confidence as arrogance, your obedience as rebellion, your discipline as distance, and your silence as attitude. You can explain all day, and they will still misread you, because their issue is not information. Their issue is heart posture. That is why silence is not arrogance. Silence is stewardship. Silence says, I know what this conversation will cost, and I refuse to pay for something that will not produce fruit. Silence says, my assignment deserves my energy more than your opinion deserves my explanation. Silence says, I will not let your suspicion become the center of my focus. That is not pride, that is government. Even Jesus did not answer everybody the same way. He taught crowds, he explained mysteries to disciples, he allowed only a few into certain rooms. Why? Because access is not equal. Love may be broad, but access must be governed. You can love people and still not give them the blueprint. You can forgive people and still not let them inspect your foundation. You can be kind and still be quiet. Boundaries are not bitterness. Boundaries are wisdom protecting purpose. Some of you are tired, not because the assignment is too heavy, but because you keep letting unassigned people audit what God told you to build. You are explaining your calling to people who do not respect calling. You are defending your process to people who despise process. You are presenting your blueprint to people who have no intention of lifting one brick. Then you wonder why your spirit feels drained. Stop it. Guard the blueprint. Protect the plan. Honor the process. Let builders close enough to sharpen you, but keep critics far enough that they cannot distract you. Your assignment does not need universal understanding to be valid. Your purpose does not need approval from people who were never authorized to participate. If God gave the blueprint, build. If wisdom confirms the direction, build. If correction comes from mature builders, receive it, adjust, and build. But when critics demand access only to inspect, condemn, and consume your strength, be silent. Because the house will answer later. The fruit will answer later. The finished work will answer later. And when what God showed you in private becomes visible in public, you will be glad you did not waste your oil explaining the blueprint to people who never intended to build. Now the fourth silence is this. Be silent when you are being misrepresented. Because after critics fail to stop the building, sometimes they will try to redefine the builder. They could not destroy the blueprint, so they attack your motive. They could not stop your obedience, so they question your heart. They could not deny your fruit, so they create a false story about the root. Hear me carefully. There are moments when defending yourself will not reveal your truth. It will reduce your dignity. There are arguments that require you to step down from your seat of authority just to answer people who were never judges over your assignment. And if you are not careful, you will spend your life trying to correct narratives that were created by people who never wanted truth in the first place. Every accusation does not deserve your answer. Every false interpretation does not require your statement. Every lie does not need your immediate defense. Some questions are not searching for truth. They are searching for ammunition. Some people do not ask what happened because they want understanding. They ask because they want enough pieces to build another accusation. They want your words, your tone, your emotion, your frustration, so they can say, see, that is who you really are. Do not give them the material. Be silent. Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying truth does not matter. I am not saying character assassination is painless. I am not saying it is easy to sit quietly while people misread your intentions, twist your words, and assign motives to your obedience. No, it hurts. It cuts deep when your heart is clean, but your name is being handled by dirty hands. It is painful when people believe a version of you that was manufactured by jealousy, insecurity, ignorance, and offense. But pain is not permission to lose government. Pain is not permission to surrender your mouth to panic. Pain is not permission to chase every person who misunderstood you and beg them to see your heart. The desire to be understood by everybody will make you a prisoner of people who were never assigned to walk with you. You will keep running from room to room, conversation to conversation, comment to comment, trying to rescue your reputation from people who were never committed to your truth. That is bondage, and a kingdom citizen does not live in bondage to public interpretation. Look at Jesus. When accusation stood in front of him, he did not answer like a frightened man trying to save his image. He stood under authority. He stood in restraint. He knew who sent him. He knew what he carried. He knew the Father already understood what men were pretending not to see. That silence was not weakness. That silence was government under pressure. That silence was the language of someone whose identity was not being negotiated in a courtroom of confused people. When you know the Father understands, you do not need everybody else to. When heaven has already judged your obedience, you do not collapse because earth is slow to recognize it. When your identity is rooted in your manufacturer, you stop begging consumers to define your value. You were not created by the crowd. You were not called by the crowd. You were not sustained by the crowd. So stop letting the crowd become the court of final appeal over your life. Some of you are exhausted because you are addicted to being understood. You cannot sleep until every rumor is corrected. You cannot focus until every opinion is fixed. You cannot build until every person says, now I get it. That is immaturity. Leadership requires the ability to be misunderstood without becoming unstable. Authority requires the ability to be falsely interpreted without losing your center. Emotional maturity requires the discipline to let time carry evidence that your mouth does not need to carry today. Character must eventually become louder than explanation. Consistency will testify after critics finish speaking. Your fruit will testify after gossip gets tired. Your pattern will testify after the lie runs out of breath. People may misrepresent a moment, but they cannot permanently bury a life of consistent obedience. They may twist a sentence, but they cannot forever deny a pattern. They may question your motive today, but fruit has a way of cross-examining every accusation. This is why you must not lower your authority by arguing with a lie that time and fruit will expose. Lies are loud in the beginning, but fruit is loud in the end. Accusations move fast, but character moves deep. Rumors run, but consistency remains. And the person who keeps building with clean hands will eventually produce something that gossip cannot explain away. Being misrepresented is not always punishment. Sometimes it is training. It trains your emotions. It trains your tongue. It trains your identity. It trains your dependence on God. It teaches you not to need applause to obey. It teaches you not to need agreement to continue. It teaches you how to carry authority without becoming reactive, bitter, defensive, and small. If you cannot survive being misunderstood, you are not ready for leadership. Because leadership will expose you to false interpretation. Purpose will expose you to projection. Assignment will expose you to people who judge what they do not understand. The higher you go, the less control you have over every conversation about you. So God trains you in silence before he trusts you with greater visibility. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misread what they were never mature enough to discern. You keep your spirit clean. You keep your hands steady. You keep your mouth governed. You keep building. You keep forgiving. You keep obeying. Not because they were right, but because your assignment is too valuable to be dragged into the mud of every false report. The truth does not become weak because you are quiet. Your character does not disappear because you refuse to argue. Your authority does not shrink because you decline a foolish fight. Sometimes silence is the strongest way to say, my life will answer this better than my mouth ever could. Be still, be governed, be consistent. Let time speak, let fruit speak, let God speak. Because when the evidence matures, when the harvest appears, when the finished work stands in the open, the lie will look small beside the weight of what your obedience produced. Now the fifth silence is this: be silent when success tempts you to prove yourself. Because silence is not only needed when you are attacked, silence is also needed when you are applauded. You need government over your mouth when people criticize you, but you also need government over your mouth when people celebrate you. Hear me carefully. Pain tests your character, but promotion exposes it. Attack reveals whether you can endure pressure, but success reveals whether you can carry weight. When doors begin to open, when people begin to recognize your gift, when the work begins to speak, something in the ego will whisper, now show them, now remind them, now make sure they know who you are. Stop right there. That voice is dangerous, because the moment you need everyone to see your greatness, you become vulnerable to pride. The moment you need applause to confirm what obedience already produced, you reveal that you were not serving purpose, you were serving validation. Success will ask you a question that failure could not ask. Did you want the assignment, or did you want attention? Did you want impact, or did you want an audience? Did you want to bless people, or did you want people to bow to your image? Do not misunderstand me. I am not saying you should hide fruit. I am not saying you should pretend God has not blessed you. I am not saying you should shrink so insecure people can feel comfortable. No. False humility is still pride because it is still obsessed with appearance. I am talking about a mouth submitted to purpose. I am talking about a spirit that can be promoted without becoming noisy, arrogant, inflated, and careless. Boasting can leak the grace that humility was protecting. Some people prayed in secret, obeyed in secret, cried in secret, endured in secret, and God finally opened a door. But the moment the door opened, their mouth became bigger than their assignment. They began to advertise what they should have stewarded. They began to exaggerate what they should have managed. They began to prove what fruit was already proving. And what humility built, pride started draining. Promotion is safest in the hands of a person whose mouth is still submitted to purpose. Because if your mouth is not governed, success will make you louder before it makes you wiser. It will make you visible before it makes you mature. It will make you impressive before it makes you stable. And visibility without government is dangerous. It attracts attention your character cannot carry. Fruit does not argue with the tree beside it. Fruit does not stand in the orchard and announce, look at me. Fruit simply reveals the nature of the root. When the root is healthy, the fruit speaks without noise. When the work is real, evidence arrives without exaggeration. When God has blessed the thing, you do not have to decorate it with insecurity. Let the fruit hang. Let the results speak. Let the consistency testify. Kingdom greatness is not self-advertisement. Kingdom greatness is service. It is stewardship. It is responsibility. It is results that bless people beyond your ego. If your success only makes you louder, you have misunderstood promotion. If your elevation only makes you more demanding, more entitled, more self-centered, and more desperate to be admired, then success did not bless you. It exposed you. The purpose of promotion is not to prove you were better than the people who doubted you. The purpose of promotion is to increase your capacity to serve. God does not lift you so you can become a monument to yourself. He lifts you so more people can be helped by what he placed in you. Your gift is not a trophy. Your gift is a tool. Your platform is not a throne for your ego. It is a place of responsibility. So be silent when success tempts you to perform greatness instead of practice stewardship. Be silent when you want to post only to make somebody jealous. Be silent when you want to speak only to remind people they were wrong. Be silent when your testimony is becoming a weapon for pride instead of evidence of grace, because even good things can be corrupted by an ungoverned motive. Build quietly, serve faithfully, improve privately. Let your discipline stay stronger than your announcement. Let your obedience stay deeper than your image. Let your work carry weight without your mouth trying to lift it higher. You do not have to shout what is solid. You do not have to defend what is fruitful. You do not have to exaggerate what God has already established. When success comes, bow lower. When doors open, become more disciplined. When people celebrate you, remember the source. Remember the process. Remember the nights nobody saw. Remember the grace that carried you when your strength was not enough. And keep your mouth under government. Because the same silence that protected you in pain must protect you in promotion. If you can be celebrated and still stay submitted, applauded, and still stay humble, promoted, and still stay purposeful, then success will not destroy you. It will serve the assignment. And your life will not just be loud for a moment. It will become fruitful for generations. Now, the sixth silence is this. Be silent when you are in a season of processing. Because after success, after applause, after doors begin to open, God will still require hidden work. Do not think promotion ends processing. Do not think visibility cancels formation. Do not think because people can see your gift, God is finished dealing with your roots. Hear me carefully. There are seasons you should not explain until they have finished explaining you. Some seasons are too sacred to narrate while you are still inside them. Some pain is still forming language. Some pressure is still producing wisdom. Some confusion is still becoming clarity. And if you speak too soon, you may describe the process from the wound instead of from the lesson. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, but I need to be real. I need to be transparent. I need to tell people what I am going through. No, do not confuse transparency with immaturity. Do not confuse honesty with exposure. Do not confuse confession with performance. Healing may require trusted counsel, but healing does not require making every wound available to every audience. A surgeon does not operate in the street. A seed does not germinate on the platform. A baby is not formed in public view. Sacred development requires covering. And some of you have turned holy processing into public content because you needed sympathy more than you needed transformation. You posted what you should have prayed through. You announced what you should have submitted to counsel. You explained what God was still interpreting inside you. There is a difference between confession and oversharing. Confession is governed. Oversharing is leaking. Confession goes to mature, trusted, accountable people who can help you heal. Oversharing throws your pain into a crowd and hopes strangers will be gentle with what they were never assigned to carry. Confession brings your wound into light for restoration. Oversharing brings your wound into attention for reaction. They are not the same. You must learn the discipline of silent processing. Not secret sin, not hidden rebellion, not isolation. I am talking about sacred privacy. I am talking about letting God work in you before you try to explain what He is doing through you. I am talking about staying quiet long enough for the pain to produce wisdom, for the pressure to produce patience, for the delay to produce depth, and for the hidden place to produce roots. God often processes people before He platforms them because public weight requires private roots. A tree that grows tall without growing deep becomes dangerous in a storm. It may look impressive, but it cannot stand. Height without depth is exposure. Visibility without formation is a setup for collapse. That is why God will allow seasons where nothing seems to be happening above ground, because everything important is happening beneath the surface. A seed in the ground does not look successful. It looks buried. It looks forgotten. It looks hidden. It looks delayed. But what looks like burial may be development. What feels like delay may be depth. What looks like silence may be construction. The seed is not complaining because nobody can see it. The seed is not trying to prove it is becoming a tree. The seed submits to the darkness because the darkness is not its enemy. The darkness is the womb of its future. Some of you are fighting the very process that is preparing you. You keep calling it rejection, but God is calling it refinement. You keep calling it delay, but God is calling it root work. You keep calling it isolation, but God is calling it consecration. You keep saying nobody sees me, and heaven is saying that is why I can build you, because some things can only be formed when applause is absent. Do not despise hidden seasons. Hidden does not mean forgotten. Quiet does not mean abandoned. Slow does not mean stagnant. God is not wasting your time. He is working on your capacity. He is working on your appetite. He is working on your motives. He is working on your endurance. He is working on the parts of you that applause would never correct. The process is not punishment, it is preparation. But if you narrate every struggle while it is still forming you, you may interrupt what the struggle was sent to teach you. You may build an identity around pain before God has transformed it into wisdom. You may get addicted to being comforted but never become corrected. You may receive attention for your wound and lose hunger for your healing. That is dangerous. Everybody does not need live updates from your wilderness. Everybody does not need access to your valley. Everybody does not need a public explanation of what God is privately processing. Some seasons are not meant to be broadcast. They are meant to be obeyed. You do not owe the crowd a commentary on your becoming. Let the process finish. Let the lesson mature. Let the wound close. Let wisdom rise. Let your language be purified by time, prayer, counsel, humility, and obedience. Because when you speak too early, you often speak from reaction. But when the process has finished its work, you speak from authority. Reaction tells people what hurt you. Authority tells people what formed you. Be silent while God is making roots. Be silent while patience is being built. Be silent while your motives are being tested. Be silent while your emotions are being disciplined. Be silent while the Father is correcting what the platform cannot see. That silence is not denial. That silence is cooperation. You are not pretending nothing is happening. You are honoring what is happening too much to mishandle it. And when the season is finished explaining you, you will not need to force the testimony. Your peace will speak. Your maturity will speak. Your fruit will speak. You will not just tell people you survived. Your life will show them what survival produced. You will not just say God was faithful. Your character will carry the evidence. So do not rush to explain the process. Submit to it. Let it deepen you. Let it govern you. Let it make you a person who can carry what you once only prayed for. Now the seventh silence is this. Be silent when peace is more valuable than winning. Because after God has dealt with your process, after he has touched your motives, after he has trained your mouth in pressure, there comes one more test. Can you walk away when you know you can answer? Can you be quiet when you know you have the stronger argument? Can you choose peace over the pleasure of having the last word? Hear me carefully. A kingdom citizen does not trade peace for the small reward of proving a point that is too cheap. Your peace is too expensive to spend it on every argument that knocks on your door. Your spirit is too valuable to hand it to people who only came to disturb it. Not every battle is your assignment. Not every argument is your classroom. Not every person deserves access to your spirit. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, but if I do not answer, they will think they are right. Let them think. You are too governed to be controlled by what people think after you leave the room. Immaturity needs the last word. Authority knows when the conversation has become too small for the assignment. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing, because silence tells the argument, you are not important enough to rule my atmosphere. Winning an argument can still cost you your peace. You can win the debate and lose your focus. You can win the point and lose your sleep. You can win the exchange and bring poison into your home. You can prove you were right and still damage the environment where your purpose is supposed to grow. What kind of victory leaves you anxious, distracted, bitter, offended, and empty? That is not victory. That is a transaction where you paid with your inner life. Some of you are losing days over conversations that were never assigned to you. One comment steals your morning. One accusation steals your prayer life. One foolish argument follows you into your marriage, your parenting, your work, your rest, your decisions. You are physically present, but mentally still fighting somebody who's already moved on. That is bondage. And the enemy does not need to destroy your destiny if he can keep your spirit living in reaction. Constant verbal warfare trains the soul to react instead of govern. It teaches you to answer every sound, chase every offense, defend every feeling, and correct every misunderstanding. Before long, you are not living from purpose anymore. You are living from provocation. Whoever irritates you controls you. Whoever offends you directs your day. Whoever disagrees with you becomes the manager of your emotions. That is not dominion. That is slavery with religious language. Dominion is not noise. Dominion is government. Dominion is the ability to say, this deserves my attention and this does not. This is my assignment, and this is distraction. This is counsel, and this is confusion. This is a door, and this is a trap. You must become selective. Answer what is assigned. Release what is not. Refuse to let unnecessary noise govern the day God gave you. Boundaries are sacred because they protect the environment where purpose grows. A garden without a fence will be trampled by anything passing by. A mind without boundaries will be invaded by every opinion. A heart without boundaries will become storage for everybody else's chaos. You cannot grow kingdom fruit in an atmosphere of constant disturbance. Peace is not weakness. Peace is soil. Peace is climate. Peace is the internal order that allows purpose to take root. Do not let people shame you for protecting your peace. Some people call it pride when you stop arguing. They call it avoidance when you stop giving access. They call it cold when you stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. No, boundaries are not hatred. Boundaries are stewardship. You are not rejecting people because you refuse to fight with them. You are protecting the government of your spirit. Jesus did not answer every question. He did not heal every demand. He did not explain every movement. He did not give every person equal access. He knew the difference between a hungry heart and a hostile trap. You need that discernment. You need to know when a conversation is seeking truth and when it is feeding conflict. You need to know when your words will bring light and when they will only become fuel for more fire. So be silent when peace is more valuable than winning. Be silent when the argument is beneath your assignment. Be silent when your answer will only feed pride. Be silent when the room is not mature enough to handle truth. Be silent when your family needs your calm more than your cleverness. Be silent when your future needs your focus more than your opinion. Let peace win. Let maturity win. Let purpose win. You do not have to attend every fight you are invited to. You do not have to answer every voice that calls your name. You do not have to spend your strength proving points that will not produce fruit. Guard your atmosphere. Govern your mouth. Protect your spirit. Because when you stop letting noise command you, you become free to obey what God actually assigned you to build. Now bring all 7 silences together, because these are not suggestions. These are requirements for anybody who intends to carry purpose without letting noise destroy it. Be silent when your assignment is still a seed. Be silent when anger wants the microphone. Be silent when critics demand access to your blueprint. Be silent when lies try to provoke your defense. Be silent when success tempts you to prove yourself. Be silent when process is still forming you. Be silent when peace is more valuable than winning. That is not weakness, that is government. Stop letting people define silence as fear. That is a lie designed to keep you reactive, shallow, exposed, and available to every distraction. Silence is not the absence of power. Silence is power under timing. Silence is power under wisdom. Silence is power under purpose. Silence is power that refuses to waste itself on rooms, arguments, motives, and battles that were never assigned to it. A mature person does not speak because they can. A mature person speaks because the word is assigned. A kingdom citizen does not release language just because emotion is present. Your mouth is not a dumping place for frustration. Your mouth is not a weapon for pride. Your mouth is not a stage for insecurity. Your mouth is supposed to be a servant of your assignment. Hear me carefully. Every unnecessary word costs something. Some words leak favor. Some words drain strength. Some words expose process. Some words invite enemies into blueprints they were never supposed to see. Some words turn a moment of anger into a season of regret. Some words make you look powerful for 5 minutes and immature for 5 years. So you must ask yourself, where has my speech been costing me? Where have you been talking too soon? Where have you been explaining too much? Where have you been defending what fruit was assigned to prove? Where have you been arguing when peace was asking you to walk away? Where have you been calling it honesty, but heaven calls it lack of government? Where have you been calling it transparency, but wisdom calls it exposure? Where have you been calling it confidence, but it is really pride wearing a nice suit? Do not run from that question. Sit with it. Let it correct you. Let it locate the leak. Because if you do not locate the leak, you will keep losing strength and blaming the devil for what your own mouth released. The enemy does not have to steal what you keep handing over through ungoverned speech. So start now. Pause before reacting. Do not let anger borrow your tongue. Do not let offense write your script. Do not let critics become consultants. Protect the blueprint. Speak your vision to builders, not inspectors. Choose counsel over commentary. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary scatters you. Counsel carries responsibility. Commentary carries opinion. Know the difference. When accusation comes, let fruit answer. When lies run ahead of you, let character catch up and testify. When success comes, stay low. Do not turn blessing into boasting. Do not turn testimony into performance. Do not use promotion to punish people who doubted you. Let God lift you and let humility keep you. When process is still working, do not narrate the whole thing from the wound. Wait until wisdom has language. Wait until peace has returned. Wait until God has finished explaining you to you. And when peace is on the line, choose peace without apology. Some people will misunderstand your silence. Let them. Some people will call your boundaries pride. Let them. Some people will think they won because you did not answer. Let them. You were not designed for drama. You were designed for dominion. Dominion is not shouting over everybody. Dominion is ruling yourself under God. You were designed by a manufacturer with intention. Your life is not random. Your assignment is not accidental. Your future is too important to be governed by every feeling, every critic, every rumor, every opportunity, every applause, and every argument. You are not here to be controlled by noise. You are here to carry purpose with discipline. Leadership begins when your mouth becomes a servant of your purpose. Not your ego, not your pain, not your need to be understood, not your hunger to be admired. Your purpose. When your words come under kingdom government, your assignment gains protection. It gains power. It gains proof. Because now your language is no longer leaking what God is building. Your speech is aligned with your season. Your silence is aligned with your wisdom. Your presence is aligned with your authority. So make the decision today. My mouth will not sabotage my assignment. My emotions will not govern my words. My critics will not access my blueprint. My pain will not become public before it becomes wisdom. My success will not make me proud. My peace will not be traded for a pointless victory. And if that is the truth you are choosing to live, put it in your own mouth and write it where you can see it. My mouth is submitted to my assignment. Say it until your spirit believes it. Live it until your reactions obey it. Practice it until silence no longer feels like losing, but like ruling. And if you want teachings that build kingdom identity, discipline, and purpose, stay connected and subscribe, because you need more than inspiration. You need formation. You need truth that confronts you, corrects you, and calls you higher. Guard your peace. Govern your mouth. Protect your assignment. Refuse unnecessary conflict. Stop spending holy strength on unholy arguments. Stop giving sacred words to careless rooms. Stop proving what your fruit is already prepared to reveal. Because when you govern your mouth, your life will begin to speak with a clarity that noise could never produce. Your fruit will speak. Your peace will speak. Your discipline will speak. Your assignment will speak. And when your life starts speaking under the government of God, no argument will be able to outtalk what obedience has already proven.